The Florida State Builders Area Pro Series heads into its 5th round of the season as we trudge along in the 17 race championship. But this week, look out for Miles the Monster as he aims to take down more cars as he did on Monday night in the Area Cup Series. Welcome to Dover, Delaware, and this concrete mile coliseum. Kyle Heyer joined by Finian D'Acuna and Connor Horn. Finian, welcome aboard. I love this place. It's such a fun racetrack, but it's only fun after you're done. The lead up to it in this 140-lap race, this is an anxious moment. This is a very terrifying racetrack to take on. Single groove, it's fast, and there's no room for mistakes.
Yeah, I was going to say, some may argue that Miles ate pretty good on Monday, but I mean, with the way I'm looking at these drivers racing around here in practice, it's looking pretty slick out there. A lot of guys tail fishing these cars, especially with these Pro Series cars, a lot less planted than their Cup Series modern counterparts with the next-gen cars. So they're sliding around out there, and that's going to leave for some entertaining action for us watching, not so much for the drivers on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's going to be extremely tough today. It's going to be a hot track, which wasn't really that much of an issue on Monday night. The track was rather cool, and it kept cooling down more and more. You might see that tonight, but any sort of hot temperatures at a track like this, these Xfinity cars are going to be all over the place, especially on the exits of the corners. Watch out for the exit of turn 2, especially as we look at our playoff picture after 4 races. Scioli 2 wins, Jake Nichols, our recent winner at Atlanta, and Richard Thomas, the upset win at Daytona. It's run-of-the-mill for the most part, standard competitors in front of that cut line. Mitchell Beckner, Yaroshak, Matthew Bell, and others. And he's still got guys who are exceptionally fast below the cut line as well, like Mason Kane in 16th. Don Furness is minus 22. Justin Mutzel, same experience. And there's plenty more fast drivers below the top 20 as well.
Yeah, there's a lot coming up on the calendar to look out for as far as the schedule is concerned. This is not an easy racetrack, nor is our next race in a couple of weeks' time at the Charlotte Roval, our one and only road race. Couple of weeks with some fun races. We got then the Charlotte Oval, Darlington, Richmond, Homestead, IRP, then Talladega, and then we're in the playoffs, Finian. It's going to go quick, even though that's a little ways away.
Yeah, I was going to say it's still a ways away, but again, it's something these drivers have to think about, right? Because if you're really good at Dover, as some drivers aren't as much, you want to try to prioritize the tracks you're good at, and this could be a chance to punch your way into the playoffs.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a big part to see who can get in. We saw Jake Nichols dominate Monday night. He's very fast here. Scioli's obviously always going to be in contention. That turn 2 wall is going to be in contention for a lot more hits than that as well. As we look at that track temp, it's at 115. It's still a little bit hotter than what we saw Monday night. Wind's a little bit up there as well. That could throw the cars out of whack, out of the exits of the corners as well. It's something to look for.
Yeah, and certainly the temperature is going to swing around just a little bit, including in the next moment or two as we head into qualifying here. In a pretty critical time to qualify in, because one driver is going home tonight. 44 cars trying to get to a 43-car race. Here at Dover, it is very tricky to pass. Qualifying is absolutely critical. And Finian, they're going to have 10 minutes and just 1 lap to do it. Actually, I think they get 2 laps here at Dover.
2 laps here,
2 laps, yeah. So it's not a lot of laps, though. You still got to get it right at least once.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of drivers in the Cup Series having to use both laps to get something going, and a lot of them using that first lap as a banker, just kind of like running a relatively slow lap, mainly using it for setting up turns 3 and 4, and then really getting a solid run off the corner to get a faster second lap. We'll see what these guys do here. I imagine something similar as qualifying's underway.
Yeah, qualifying indeed underway as we get one of our first drivers out, Garrett Grant, in his Mustang. You're going to see him go to the outside-inside move for his first lap. Just like Monday night, you're probably going to see almost everyone go for that second lap for their hot lap. But you got to remember that we do have 2 laps. I think it was Eric Wineland who thought we had 2 laps Tuesday night when we went to the Milwaukee Mile at the Truck Series and made that mistake. So hopefully everyone remembers that they have that extra lap in their bank.
Here comes Grant way up high. Whoa. He's going to arc it here, I think, to get that better run in that second lap when the tires come up to temp just a bit better. Let's see what he's got on lap 1, though, and where it'll put him for the moment. That's a 24.487. We're going to go quicker than that. So Garrett puts the first time on the board. Brendan Bowie, one of the drivers that is kind of near that cut line as far as the playoffs are concerned. He's just getting up to speed as well. Steve Durham, Greg Mitchell, and more. As far as our onboard cameras tonight, as we jump around, we've got Justin Munsell. He's going to be joining us with his onboard camera tonight. Of course, we've got Eric Wineland in the number 21. Of course, we'll also have Alan Elwood and JT Poole joining us in their respective cameras, but they're all waiting to qualify and looking off screen to see what the weather's doing, Finney, before they set their laps.
Yeah, again, they're kind of just waiting, not looking at the radar just yet. but they're just looking at the weather, trying to see as far as the track temperature is concerned, seeing if the track's cooling down, if it's getting hotter, because then ideally that's when you want to go. And I just actually saw it drop down on my screen from 112 to 111, so it's getting slightly cooler. So you're going to probably see these guys waiting a little bit more towards the end of qualifying to really get some laps in.
Jeremy Miller going down the back straightaway here. I know another tactic is if you can change those cameras and know how to navigate those cameras, point a camera towards the sun, look for some clouds, see if there's going to be clouds coming over the track as Miller taps the wall. That will invalidate that lap. That might hurt his second lap as well. It might not count that either, but you can see he's pushing those exits that everyone's going to. But out of these corners, turns 2, turn 4, it's a jump, and he's going to hit the wall again. So that's going to put him well down the order, and he's an open car. Right now we're sending, he is not happy about it. But he is one of those open cars, so that could really cost him if some other drivers, if everyone else gets their lap in.
Danny Ware, 10th place on his first lap. And again, starting at the tail of the field here, I don't want to say it's a death sentence, but it might feel like it if you're starting 35th at a racetrack like this. 140 laps here is not all that long. We could go pretty green. We have gone pretty green in the past here, but we also have the opportunity for yellows as Danny Ware gets up into the wall out of turn 4.
That's going to validate lap number 2, so Danny Ware only 10th quickest. We'll see if that holds. Most likely will not. He'll probably be dropping down the order. Clay Montgomery in the number 45, rocketing out of turn 2. He's on his first lap, heading to 3 and 4. Throwing the car down the banking, quite literally, just getting off into turn 3, coming down, and then right here off turn 4, come back up. You can see the car rides and then come planted back down onto the front straight. What makes these corner exits, both turns 2 and 4, so treacherous, Connor.
Yeah, and you can see that in the rubber put on the track, so much rubber, but then you can see a lack of rubber on that very exit because the car's just going to jump because it's an uphill climb out of that corner, up the banking. And as you were talking about last time in the turn 3, that drop down, you have to drop into the corner to make that turn correctly. There's really nothing above that groove on the very bottom as Montgomery goes 16th. It's a very precise corner at these, precise, couple of corners at this track.
Yeah, as I said on Monday, you know, this might not be the Dover Air Force Base, but there's a lot of takeoffs and landings around this lap. Taking off, leaving the corner as you climb up off the banking, and then landing into the turn. And it feels like a landing. You can feel the car get light as you turn off in, and then you're going from the top of the banking down to the bottom, and the car gets light and then slams down into the pavement, and that's a big compression on the suspension. It's a challenging racetrack to conserve tires at as well, because you just feel like you have to lean so much on that right front. And quickly tidying up that previous point. Last race here, just 2 yellows. With that, I wanted to point out one of the most challenging parts of this racetrack. The pit lane entry is Julio Villalobos Jr. almost gets into the fence out of 4. This pit lane, probably the most challenging one in North American oval racing.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because we didn't really quite get to see for the Cup Series on Monday them having to deal with that because we had enough cautions, or at least enough cautions where they came out earlier in the race, where green flag pit stops weren't really a concern, wasn't really an issue for these drivers, so they never really had to focus on getting down there. However, tonight you never know. We might see these guys at green flag pit stops if they can go on a run long enough for it. So if you didn't practice that, I gotta say it's going to be a rude awakening. Not only, like you mentioned, just struggling to get down here. The other challenge for this pit lane is that it is extremely slow. It's only 35 miles an hour down there on pit lane. If I'm not mistaken, one of the shortest, or slowest, I should say, pit lanes on the Cup calendar.
Ooh, I think JT Poole was trying to hit the brakes maybe to stop his lap because he got really tight out of turn 4, but that's going to really hurt him, I would say. But he did still 5th on his other lap. He just wanted a little bit faster. But yeah, that entry is going to be tough. The reason you don't see green flag pit stops a lot at Dover is because no one is ever going to short pit at Dover, because if you get caught by a yellow like we saw, I think Yusuf Ghali and a few others got caught Monday night, your race is over. You're 2 laps down most likely, and it's tough to climb out of that hole. Very slow pit road, very tough pit entry. Those barrels are going to be very inviting tonight. If we do get green flag pit stops, at least one person's going to end up clipping them.
Now it's Weaver across the stripe. First lap puts him only 32nd, so he'll have to do a bit better than that. Ryan Hartz has snuck up to the pole. Justin Munsell with a nice, strong qualifying effort up in 2nd. Shane Therian, Connor Urashak, John Furness, the rest of your top 5. Kind of a shake-up in the top 5 there, Fenny, in just a bit.
And also looking at Urashak and Furness, they're tied to the 1,000th of a second, oddly enough, those two. As Weaver comes to complete his lap, he'll jump up to 18th, so a decent qualifying effort for the 62. But it's actually pretty tight up near the top. You got You got the top 5 within 50 thousandths of a second between each other. It's extremely close up there. You see another car flying off the corner. I believe that is Alan Elwood coming across the line. Indeed it is, heading into turn 1.
Camera is shaky. That's how intense the qualifying at Dover is as he comes out of turn 2. Monster Energy Camaro might have tapped that wall, but I think he's going to carry on, so he should be fine. A 3.69.12 or 1.234. That's interesting as well. But Elwood, looks very fast, really maximizing the exits. See where he crosses the line. And
you know what?
He didn't count. I think he did tap the wall.
Oh, he got it.
No, 11th. There it is.
It just took it a moment.
I'm just looking at this Monster Energy car flying around here. How is Monster not sponsored a race at Dover?
That's a great question.
Good question.
Right?
I don't know.
It's perfect marketing. Come on.
Just
Better
imagine.
Better question is why Miles the Monster still has a car from 2008 in his hand.
Well, that's more explainable because his track was scanned in 2008.
At least updated. There it is. It literally 2008. Even says it.
I made the comment on Monday that there's so few polygons. It looks like it's a car from the 70s with that flat nose on it. But oh boy. Well, car still qualifying here. Bryce Senesac heads out on the racetrack in the 09. Similar colors to that previous monster car we just pointed out. And Jake Nichols is already on his first lap in the number 73. We should look to him to climb towards the top of the order there. He was the driver that won on Monday.
Oh boy, wow. So I'm just looking because there is so one of the admins, Jacob Bell, helping put on the show tonight. Just noted that a lot of people have just lost connection to the server. I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 showing connection loss.
Seen this before.
Yeah, I'm not sure that was all at the same time, but they all have that drop due to download packet loss. So just an update for everyone at home. What's going on as Jake Nichols comes across the line. Only 8 fastest for the 73 machine.
Yeah, it's probably not the qualifying effort he was looking for. Not a bad set of laps, but not the best either. James Scioli working his way around in the number 7, was awful close to snagging a victory on Monday night in the Cup Series side. And the very colorful Rick's Hot Sauce Supra is on his way around into turn 3.
Yeah, very fast Monday night. Excuse me to cut you off, Finian, but he was very fast Monday night. Was probably the second or third fastest. Oh, really sliding out of 4, but he was definitely contender. Just so hard to pass on Monday night, and we got really no long runs at the very end. He really never had a shot at the 73 as he goes 12th on the board. We see he does have enough time for lap number 2. All the way out to that outside wall with the safer barriers. You can see him dive into turn 3. This is going to be a hot lap.
Yeah, waiting for the last possible second to get a lap in, and he's just like going to mention just has enough time. Sideways off at turn 4, that's probably going to kill his momentum. We'll see, though, as he comes across the line. It's going to be a slower time, so only 12 fastest, which is not terrible, but probably not as fast as he would have liked.
His qualifying is complete, checkered flag, and James Scioli is going to be the last driver to put a time in here as qualifying is complete, and we're going to head into warm-up. We're going to give everyone a couple of minutes. I have not tried this in a long time. Does my red... Yes, it does, my red flag, but I just needed to test that just in case.
Not again.
The last time that we used it, we had an official SimTV red flag, was back in the Fuel Series, I believe, back at Indianapolis, and I didn't have a red flag at the time, and I made sure I had to have one in every theme thereafter to make sure that we never ran into that problem again.
You colored the yellow flag red.
I did.
I remember that one.
I don't run screen capture in the same way anymore, so I can't use the tool I did to do that anymore. So it is important that I have a red flag. But not actually in a red flag situation, at least not yet, but good to know that that works and it is tested. So we've got a couple minutes to talk about some things. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can use to redeem for free merchandise, all at the price of just $5 a month. So 140 laps here, guys. Let's talk about the historic racing here at Dover, at least here in the area, Florida State Builders Pro Series. The last race here was a quick one. 5 leader, 7 lead changes, only 2 yellows, and the race was over in 1 hour and 8 minutes. That's a fast race. Will we get the same speed tonight? I'm not so sure. I know the other thing that is new that wasn't the case the last time. We have the new damage model here, which is generally a lot more forgiving, and at a place like Dover where you can hit the wall several times, it might be an improvement and keep more cars running.
Oh, absolutely. It's a big thing. I guess besides the visual aspect of the new damage model, which is always impressive to me, the biggest thing for me is, and we've seen this a lot with the car that shall not be named. It really improved a lot of the collisions when it comes to walls, and same thing with that car. You can hit the wall a little bit, get away with a little bit. You'll still maybe get some damage, but it won't be anywhere near catastrophic as it used to be, and especially car-to-car contact too. We've seen a lot of guys, even on Monday night, guys rubbing each other's fenders at Dover in the corners, fighting hard for the lead, and they were able to keep it going in the right direction. And again, contacts with the wall too are also going to be lessons. That's definitely a big plus, because we know that, and seen in the past many times, Dover is a killer when it comes to race cars.
Yeah, and a killer to race car contact as well. I was very lucky. I rubbed fenders, I think, with Vincent Cortez at the end of that race, and we got away with it scot-free, which was a little bit lucky on our ends because we really were mixing it up. But yeah, definitely part of the new damage model that helps racing and encourages a little bit of more fender action. The one drawback, or at least you could call it a drawback, I'm not sure if it is one, but you keep the car counts high, even when there's a little crashes here and there. A hit to the rear bumper or a hit of the wall without blowing the engine would end your race most likely. You'd be 2 seconds off the pace. It's not going to be completely the case. You're not going to be out of the race after any old incident, so a lot more drivers are going to be able to stay on track throughout this entire race.
You guys know who is related to Scott Free?
No?
Jeff Price.
Oh.
Nice. Gold star for that one.
Oh, boy. Okay, it's going to be a long night. Anyway, here's a look at the track temp as we are just over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. The 18 car is going to be the DNQ tonight. That is Colin Fambro, and he has elected to sit this one out. It was his first start, and elected, maybe this is not the one that I would participate in as my first start for the season, is at Dover. I think that's probably not a bad strategy to sit this one out, and that could end up working out for him a little bit later in the season, extending someone else the opportunity to race. Checkered flag here on warm-up. We're going to head down to qualifying. Sorry, it's head down to the race. It's said long night, right? Before we get into the race here, 140 laps, and Roasted Gems Coffee is our starting grid sponsor. Race fans, start your engines with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try the blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code Area iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. All right, let's kick things off with that Roasted Gems Coffee starting lineup. And on the front row, it's Ryan Hartz in the number 3 pole position for that Chevy Camaro. Justin Munsell starts alongside him in his Toyota Supra.
Moving on back, Brian Chintarian in the number 9 machine, starting off in 3rd. Next to him, Conor Yurshak in the number 12, rolling off in 4th place.
And in 5th place, it's John Furness, the 28. Good start. Needs a good finish, though, to rocket forward in the playoffs picture. Richard Thomas, 6th in the number 37.
JT Poole, another driver that can really do a lot better in the point standings. He's been rolling off in 7th in the 26 car. Next to him, Jake Nichols starting in 8th in the number 73.
And row 5, it's going to be Cameron Hurd, the number 4 Ford Mustang. And Justin Ennis-Sogak in 10th in the number 88 Supra.
Moving on back to 11th place, it's going to be Alan Elwood in the number 10. Next to him, James Cowley in the number 7, rolling off in 12th.
And in 13th place, it's going to be Ed Robertson in the number 64. Then Nico Garcia in 14th in the number 41 machine.
Moving on back to 15th, Eric Wineland in the number 66 car. Next to him, Matthew Bell in the 43, rolling off in 16th.
And then it's going to be Brody Falliker in the 17th spot at the number 42. Then Eugenio Alonso at 18th in the number 86.
Moving on back to row 10 is going to be Tom Bourne on the inside in the number 16. Next to him, Joey Chapman in the number 60, rounding out your top 20.
And it's Shane Abbey in 21st in the 84. Then Alex Weaver, 22nd in the number 62.
Moving on back to 23rd, it's going to be the number 23 car, Brandon Bowie. Next to him, Garrett Grant in the number 5 in 24th.
And in 25th place, Clayton Montgomery in the 45 machine. Bryce Senesac in the 09 starts 26th.
Moving on back to 27th, Alex Bell is going to be rolling off in the 15 car. And then next to him, Danny Ware in the 49 and 28th.
29th place, Jeffrey Wilson in the 85. Chris Rabel, 30th in the number 29 machine.
Moving on back to 31st, Greg Mitchell in the number 2. Next to him, Delonte Ballard in the 21 and 32nd.
And in 33rd place, Jordan Martin in the 38. Steve Durham, 34th in the number 1.
In the 39 car, it's going to be Julio Villalobos Jr. in the 35th spot. Next to him, Travis Beckner in the 27th and 36th.
And then it's Mason Kane, Bronson Stafford, Cahill Holmes, Jeremy Miller, Brad Slaughter Jr., Casey Lakatos, and Ben Pierce that will round out your starting lineup for tonight's race. Quick look at the weather one more time. About 112 degrees Fahrenheit track temp, 72 degrees in the air. Breeze out of the northwest at just about 10 miles an hour. Connor Horn, pick me a favorite. Who wins this race?
It's really hard to bet against the speed of Euroshack, in my opinion. He's extremely fast. It's going to be about long run pace if we get the long runs, or whether he'll win it or not. But I'm going to give it the Euroshack tonight.
Finian.
I'm going to go with Sheen Terry. He's been doing really good this season so far, and I think he's hungry for a win. It's been a while since he's been to victory lane.
If I recall correctly, Justin Munsell was up front the last time here. I think he gets it done from second tonight. Ends the drought for the number 6 Supra tonight here at Dover. Will the Monster get munching tonight at 140 laps? This race is over in less than an hour if it goes green from flag to flag. That's going to be a huge challenge here. Dover, Delaware, the Florida Staplers Area Pro Series is green. We're underway. Lap 1 complete just like that. And 139 to go. Side by side here for third place, Darian and Euroshack. Looks like Darian's going to try to take it in the number 9.
Trying to see if he can take it, trying to work on that outside, or he's trying to work on the inside. Euroshack on the outside, trying to hold his ground. Use the run off the corners to his advantage. He's working pretty good. They're both pretty much equal in the middle of 3 and 4.
Yeah, but he's going to tap the wall. You don't want to be up there too long. It's much worse on the tires on that upper groove, but you can see he has no choice. He has nowhere to go behind Therian, so he's got to make this pass work or he's going backwards, and he has room in front of Therian. He just got to get there. He's got the run off of 2, not quite close enough to clearing. Actually, it looks like Therian's going to let him in, so pretty single file now at the front. Hartz keeps the lead.
Jumping into line, Tom Bourne in the 16s underneath Brody Falliker in the 42. This is a battle for 17th place. Car high out of 4. That is Garrett Grant in the number 5 Mustang. He's going to lose a couple spots in that.
And looking at, looks like Travis Beckner ran into trouble early on the start of this race. Car wouldn't get into gear and got some pretty decent rear damage. I mean, he actually struggled for quite a bit, so lost a lot of time as well. So he's trailing at the back of the pack.
Really odd there. We saw him kind of not go. Fortunate that's the only damage he got, as it's still a frenzy, really 30th on back of all these drivers. Ballard at the front of that. Jordan Martin I see in there on the top side, trying to get the top side running back here. Jeremy Miller trying to gain some spots as well. It's a dogfight back here. You can see all the way up through the field. It's mainly single file.
For the lead, it's tight. Justin Munsell is hounding Ryan Hartz here. And looking back, here's John Furness under fire from Jake Nichols in the 73. Or maybe a bit from Euroshack under Munsell.
I was going to say, the 12 got a fantastic run off of turn 2. Used it on the back straightaway into 3, and now he's away out of turn 4. So Euroshack up to P2 now, and I'm sure he's definitely not done. This 12 was off like a cannon. Here comes in behind him a battle for position for 6th place. Jake Nichols trying to work his way on through after starting a little probably further down than he would like, but John Furness still not giving up a fight, trying to hold on the outside.
They've been side by side for about 2 laps. I think Jake's probably already tired of it at this point, but Furness is pinching him just enough to get a better run off the corners, and he's just not letting that 73 get clear. I thought JT Poole was looking 3 for a moment, but meanwhile, up for the lead, Euroshack's already clear of Ryan Hartz.
Yeah, he made that quick. Didn't even give us a chance to look at it. Out of turn 4, just got a really good run, opened up the door to the inside, and once you're here, and you can dive off into the corner, and hopefully the guy on the outside doesn't fight you, it becomes kind of trivial to make that pass. But with all that complete, Jake Nichols has not been able to make it that easy on John Furness for 6th.
Go nose to tail. Looks like everyone's found a decent spot to be in for now, except for Jake Nichols. Again, I'm still mad he wants that spot back from the 28, but he's got to kind of reset and get back going again, and then he can probably try to find an opportunity around in that 28 car.
Yes, it's fortunate at this point in the race. It's not really killing him pace-wise. The leader's very well still in view, but you could tell it might have taken a toll on his tires. He might be a little overheated because now he's going to be under fire from JT Poole, who's got Cameron Hearn all over the rear bumper of him. A little bit of a stack up behind the 73 of Nichols at this point after not completing that pass. JT loves it. He's smiling. He's wheeling just like he does every night he's racing. He's having fun, but he's going to have to be stuck in line for a moment, just for a little bit here. He pretty much started where he's running. That back only 1 spot.
Yeah, I always love checking in on JT. Very expressive driver behind the wheel. And started in 7th. He's dropped down 1 spot, but still keeping Jake Honest ahead of him. And you mentioned Cameron Hearn Behind him, there he is, and then Scioli in 10th in that pink Rick's Hot Sauce car. It opens the door to the inside of the 4 through turn 1. Cameron's night on, was it Tuesday? That was extremely short, and I think Monday as well.
Yeah, you're talking about JT Poole. I mentioned on the lineup that definitely could use some better finishes. He's 21st in the point standings, 2 40th place finishes at Daytona and Atlanta. He's been doing a little bit better at some other tracks like Kentucky and Vegas. Vegas is highest finished 4th this season, so I'm sure he's hoping to get more points to that total and get him further up the standings. Doing well, sitting nicely inside the top 10, but very much in the thick of things. He's got drivers directly in front of him and behind him, so it can be a little bit stressful at times because you're constantly watching in front of you and you're constantly watching your mirror.
Looking back through the field, back to Eric Weiland, who's in 16th. He's only a spot back from where he started as well. I'm surprised he cleared concussion protocol. His car on the wall in the back in front of Senesac. Looked like Eugenio Alonso. He keeps it straight, side by side with Senesac. But we're talking about Weiland. He had such a bad wreck Tuesday. I'm surprised he cleared concussion protocol. As Alonso, we're going to see how hard he hit this wall.
Oh,
just like
scrape.
that. That'll buff out.
Just a little scrape. You talk about the concussion protocol situation. He hit so hard that if he had base shakers, he might actually need a concussion check. He just demolished it. I mean, I can't believe his screen's still working. He hit so hard. Look at this gaggle behind the 15 of Alex Bell. This is getting wild.
Starting a little bit spicy down there for position, and up near the front, getting a little spicy here. 3 wide moment for a second. Cameron Hearn just in behind James Scioli as they're all catching up on the lap car. That is the 27. Almost we're going to look like they were 3 wide. Hearn was fighting with the 7, had to give up on that fight.
That must have really killed Beckner's car with the rear end damage. I didn't think he'd get lapped. I thought he'd actually catch back up to the pack, but completely down on power from that. Maybe just missing that shift and revving might have killed it, but he's not going to be in contention tonight. As a battle for about the 4th position, Richard Thomas showing great pace so far. The Daytona winner back about 13th in points, but really strong under the inside of Therian here as Furnish just looks for a hole through.
Ooh,
look out, that was
boy.
tight. Going to take the spot from the 9.
And up the inside of the 28 comes Jake Nichols. He'll use this opportunity to try to complete that pass he couldn't complete earlier, and JT Poole will try to follow right through. 2 Toyotas, a Ford, and a Chevrolet walk into a bar, and all of them blame it on each other.
Try to see if you can seal the deal of Furnace fighting on the outside. You're going to get a great run off that corner. That outside really comes in clutch on the exit. And then obviously on the entries where the inside can try to fight back. And you see Nichols trying to edge ahead against that Ford Mustang, but can't quite get it done. And again, Furnace, that run off the corner is going to get it. And actually in behind him too. Looks like there's going to be another battle brewing. I think JT Poole trying to see if he can get a spot.
Yeah, it looks like the passing lane is definitely going to be that outside, but it is so hard to get to someone's right rear without them being under someone first. It's just going to make things especially difficult. You don't want to get physical here because you bump someone, you're probably not going to avoid them when they scoot on back to you, but running that high will also open the door for someone like Scioli to get there inside. This might cost Poole a spot. You're almost looking 3 wide way further back, but this battle is still very volatile as Furnace is now by the 9 of Therian, and the 9 car starting to fall back.
Yep, and JT a little wide out of 2. Cameron Hearn not able to quite get close enough to be on offense there. Joey Chapman, shallow entry to keep cover off for Brody Falliker. This is getting spicy. This is for 20th between these two.
Great to see that no matter where we look, there are always battles down the order. Whoa, as he gets into the wall, it's going to make things even more spicy. Brandon Bowie, Alex Weaver involved in that battle. They're trying to pass the 42 on the inside lane. Also Alex Bell there in the number 15 trying to make some moves. Speaking of trying to make some moves, James Scioli trying to make some on the 9 of Shane Terran, who's starting to drop back to 8th place after starting up in 3rd. And here comes JT Poole also trying to get past the 9.
Yeah, the tires are cooked. Only 20 laps into a run. It's going to be a tough time for Therian if he doesn't catch a caution. He might go back to about 11th here because now Alan Elwood's going to fill that gap on the bottom. Really, really struggling as the battle for 4th heating up. Furnace to the inside of Richard Thomas just up ahead. It's still a great run for Richard Thomas, but Furnace is on through.
Yeah, Furnace is going forward right now. Had a couple really good laps nose to tail, but Thomas crosses him right back over. Not enough of a run to do anything with it. But we're starting to see lap times burn up just a touch. Best laps in the 23 6s and 7s. Last laps in the 24 8s and 9s. So we're down about 1.2, 1.3 seconds. And here's a look at last laps, just to give you everyone a perspective of how their driver is running right now. Justin Anasodak in the 88. Haven't mentioned him a lot tonight. and battling this number 9, who seems to be giving up spot after spot after spot. And here's Elwood past Hearn for 9th.
Solid pass there for the number 10 up into 9th place for him. And I also just want to take a look at the left side of this is scoring pile and look at the manufacturer diversity and just appreciate it.
Not always like
everything.
So many Chevys in the Cup Series.
O-ties, baby.
Sorry. If you give me a little money, I'll switch to another.
I'm not giving you anything.
Oh,
Nothing.
good day, sir. Yeah.
Oh, look at
it's
this.
definitely
Ryan
gosh.
Senesac here. This is Cale Holmes, Jeff Wilson, Delonte Ballard, and Jeremy Miller. Remember, he didn't qualify, got into the fence. He's up 7 spots, skid for the 21, and everybody scatters.
This is the trouble spot right here. That's just around the 31st position. That's his teammate Delonte Ballard, who we almost came in contact with. But and that's Mason Kane, I think, right up ahead of those guys in the Huckett Films Camaro, I think.
Yep.
And he's just, and Beckner, well, he's giving a shot. He's just going to let Mason Kane by, and that was Chris Rabel. I think he gave the bumper to for whatever reason. But Kane, he's very fast Tuesday nights, but it's just not clicking in the Xfinity car so far.
Didn't help that he had a pretty poor qualifying effort down to 37th. He's +9 up to 28, but might need some cautions his way to help improve his running at the moment. And there's another driver also moving up quite a few spots. Greg Mitchell just ahead of this little battle in behind for 24th. Joey Chapman, Danny Ware duking it out. And Greg Mitchell up 8 spots from 31st, trying to break inside the top 20.
Almost 30 laps in, and we have not yet had a yellow flag. We've gotten close a couple of times. And the slide, and the commentator curse almost threw that one into the fence. Cale almost catches it in the 14. And he's going to get a run over here on exit by Bryce Senesac trying to go places.
Yeah, that's the big thing too, is when there's a speed differential, someone makes a mistake, you come flying, you got drivers at speed flying out of these corners. It's hard to maneuver, and that could also lead to some accidents. But looking at Shane Carey now, battling with Brandon Bowie, we saw them both work by Brody Falker a little bit earlier on. Speaking of, Falker right in behind in the 22nd place.
Falker just kind of following through, falling a little bit back from his starting spot, but maybe trying to get back on the 84 of Abby. Both these drivers have missed at least a few races this season, but made this race no problem, and trying to get back through the field, stay in the top half of the field. As you can see, someone running way high in turn 4. It's probably not going to work all night long, but we are starting to see that lead battle tighten up a little bit. It's not a battle right now like this one is with Bryce Senesac in the 09 and the 85. I think that's Jeff Wilson. Both these drivers wheeling off the corner as Wilson tries to clear. It's going to get more and more squirrely than that. We're only 30 laps into this run.
Yeah, about 110 laps to go, and the pace of this race is pretty fervent right now. A little slip there by Jeffrey Wilson. And race fans, be sure to go to areaiRacing.com and make sure you get your votes in for the fan vote for the All-Star race next Monday. areaiRacing.com. Place your votes for that fan vote. Looking very much forward to that one. It should be a lot of fun with the Area All-Star race next Monday night. Justin Munsell and John Furness. This is a battle for third heating up here, and this 28 is on a mission to get to the front here, Finian.
Trying to see if we can find some sort of way around Munsell, who's putting up a really solid defense, almost like a immovable object, making an unstoppable force right here, because we've seen Furness make some great passes. Munsell put up a decent defense in places, and both of them trying to keep themselves they're trying to keep themselves in the battle for the lead, but also trying to let neither driver by.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be a hotly contested battle, maybe, as Munsell's going to leave some space to the bottom. Furness thought about taking it. He's getting the 6, maybe a little sideways off the corner with that Mustang logo right up along the rear bumper of the 6, but Munsell not budging quite yet. This is about 1.2 seconds off the race leader, Connor Yaroshak, who's actually lengthened that gap back out to Ryan Hart's by about half a second.
You know, it's interesting, guys. We've got 42 cars on the racetrack right now. Only one is a lap down. And look from high above here at how condensed they are. We're 34 laps into this race, and we still have yet to wrap the whole track. There's still an entire sequence of corners that's empty, that has no cars on it. That is incredibly tight racing, but tricky to make passes.
Very tricky. Furness trying to make a move. You can barely see it from the blimp side by side with the 6 and the 28. there for a split second. They back off, but what this is really allowed to do is allow Richard Thomas, James Scioli to start to close into this battle as they've both been holding each other up. Oh, the 6 in the wall off the corner. Here comes a 28-8 trying to take advantage, diving down to the inside in turn 1.
Yeah, I don't think Furnace, or I don't think Justin Munsel's going to be able to keep him behind. Maybe the crossover has to lift. It's going to let Richard Thomas get the run to the inside. Ooh, I thought he was going to block the 6 of Munsell, but he couldn't. Now Richard Thomas with rear bumper full of James Scioli. Now it's all of a sudden just as sacked up for about 5th as it is for about 30th.
That was an intense moment there, and Justin just focused, not panicking, just trying to stay focused there as he kind of got roughed up there. His cars went every which way. So Furnace up to 3rd.
Oh man.
A little bit of a tap between Thomas and Scioli. It almost spun the 7 into the wall. You can argue it was the old damage model. Might have almost turned it into the wall.
Look at JT trying to stick the nose up there, Connor, as they come out of 4.
Yeah, extremely tight. That was a bad sequence for Richard Thomas. He could have gotten up to 4th. Now in risk for going back to the 8th position as JT Poole, I think, is going to try to get to the inside of him. See him trying to gear up that outside-inside move to get the run out of turn 2. Not going to be close enough to make a look, as he's got to make sure Alan Elwood can't get to him as well. As we look once again further back in the field, these guys are all over each other all the way through the field. Ed Robertson in 20th right now. He's actually our most recent winner in the Pro Series at Dover. Last time we were here, it was about over a year ago, a year and a half ago, and he won that race leading 44 laps. Not much better luck tonight. Started 13th, back 7 spots to 20th.
Yeah, not having the repeat success I think he would like to enjoy here. There's checking back in on Eric Wineland as he is beginning to hound Matthew Bell. That's for 14th place.
Gonna be side by side off the corner, keeping it tight between both of these drivers. Neither one giving an inch. Wineland's trying to see if he can complete the pass now entering turn 1. Bell still keeping up a charge, and you can see a whole train of cars in behind. So if Bell lets the 66 on by, he's at risk of getting passed by a couple more drivers in behind. So he's trying to mount a defense, and now side by side behind them for almost a split second as Tom Bourne Weaver starting to duke it out between themselves for 16th.
A line of about 7 cars. Alex Bell, Brandon Bowie involved in there as well, as we're almost looking like a super speedway race 2x2. Weaver to the inside of Bourne, slid up the track almost into the 16. This is where the trouble can happen off the corner. Oh. I think Bell and Wineland might have made contact, but the 43 is going to have a run to clear Wineland back. But now maybe Wineland's going to be, he hit the apron up into Tom Bourne. Now he's in trouble.
Trying to find purchase here on the grip at the concrete mile of Dover, Delaware. Eric Wineland in the thick of it here for 16th place. Other battles happening up in the top 5 for now, but this one may be a bit more volatile. Watch the 66 going to struggle with the car on the right rear quarter panel out of turn 2. That's a tight spot.
Yeah, Wineland got choked one time off the exit, and then he bounced off the bottom, and it completely killed his momentum, and now he's almost getting reverse Martinsville around the outside. That's really the best place to be at this point, considering how shot the tires are. These guys running almost 2 seconds slower than their best times. That's how bad the tire fall-off is. Only 40-some-odd laps into this race, and so you can imagine being on the inside lane. It's just so tough to get that run off the corner. 62 on by. Brandon Bowie lining up next in the queue.
Ooh, they're going to hit again. Wineland's keep getting hit that apron a little bit. These guys might make more contact off the corner. Going to be really tight, but you can see Tom Bourne's fortunate to get by all that. Him and Matthew Bell cleared them by almost half a second. That was it's just how slow you are side by side here. The crazy thing is here, they're going to make contact. Bell almost into the wall. But the weird thing about this track is when you're on the bottom, you don't want to get off the bottom for tire sake. But if you try passing someone on the bottom and then everyone lines up on the outside behind you, you're going to be in a really bad spot. It's so odd how this track works that way.
It's a finicky place. Look at Ed Robertson sneaking up the outside as well. Just got the nose and quarter panel up in there, and now has similar overlap to the outside of Wineland. How frustrating is this, losing 3 or 4 spots in as many laps after you were on offense just a couple minutes ago?
Yeah, and he actually just announced on the radio, just told Ed Robinson to get by him so that way he can just get back to the outside and kind of stop the bleeding in a sense. But he lost about 5 positions in that one exchange, and I imagine he's probably really frustrated driving there on the track and just kind of hoping, so he can't wait for the pit stops. And I actually just hear him, he's talking on the radio complaining about his right rear being all, which is not surprising because he looked pretty loose down on the bottom.
Yeah, and look at where he is compared to Matthew Bell, who he was trying to pass. He's almost 2 seconds behind. He lost about 5-6 spots in that. So that's how tough it is. Once you can't make a pass, you're going to go backwards. As you can see from our start-finish cam, look at all these packs that have formed. There's still so many battles around the entire track. And we're not too far away from having lap traffic come into play, as there's Beckner who would go 2 down, and there's his teammate Euroshak at the line now.
Yeah, Connor Euroshak has been dominant so far today, led 39 of the 47 laps that we've completed so far. And it's 1.2 seconds back to Hartz, and then it's pretty tight to Furness, Scioli, Nichols, Munsell, and so on and so forth. And even 10th is in this shot, so very tight, close racing. But again, once you're bleeding, it seems like all the vampires come out of the woodwork there.
And really, as we start to approach lap 50, big thing we got to start talking about is green flag pit stops. We alluded to it earlier in the pre-race that we didn't get a chance to see that on Monday, but it was a big chance for it now as we look at the 28 Furness, a fantastic run off of turn 2. Furness has been fantastic at getting that exit off of turn 2, and he's been making this move all night long. Just used it to get past Ryan Hartz for second place. He's been great at setting him up and then getting the run in 3 and 4 to execute.
Yeah, he's been very fast here. He in the past, even previous leagues I've ran in him with, this is one of his tracks. As you can see how he just kind of forced Ryan Hartz out, but I don't think that was on purpose. The big slide into the corner kind of caused him to push Hartz up the track, but we're starting to see his pace really look very good as Scioli's going to work over to 3 of Hartz right now. We're getting closer to maybe pit stops, but you do not want to be the first one on pit road, because if that yellow comes out and you already pit, your race might be over.
Yeah, you could be 2 laps down.
Yeah, easily. Don't even talk about speeding. You got the barrels to contend with still.
Yeah, and I think we saw, was it Alex Bell? No, it was Yusuf Ghali on Monday. He pit early, went 2 laps down, and he did get lucky. There was a string of cautions to get himself back on the lead lap, but he went 2 laps down after the caution. So that really hurt him and almost killed his race entirely.
6 different teams in the top 7. That's the kind of parity we've got right now as battles reignite here, just 50 laps in. The other thing about getting onto pit lane, that pit entry is just so evil. I don't care how many times you practiced it. Every time it just feels like it's an emergency to get onto pit lane. We'll watch it go by on the left there.
Oh, well, there's a pit stop.
Joey Chapman. Nope, that's not Joey Chapman. Joey Chapman's in the wall.
I
think, did he get a flat?
We are in that territory with those right fronts. Might be in a bad spot. Chapman very destroyed on that right side. He's just going to bring it to pit road. A lot of damage.
There's big damage on the 60. Let's go back and see if we can, well, he's running high out of the groove already. Let's see if we can, he already had right side damage.
Yeah, he made contact on lap 51 on the back straightaway, and I think that kind of ruined anything that he had. So I think the tire might have not gone down, but he was probably going down and he felt it, so he's bringing it down onto pit lane.
Yeah, the other car was the 65 of Ben Pierce. He's now 2 laps down as this battle for 16th gets even hotter. Bell, Weaver, and Bell. Matthew first, and then Alex behind.
Yeah, Weaver is the next person to try to get this 43, as I think that is Eric Weiland trying to get back in the mix as well, staying with this pack. But these guys won't get off of one another. Most hotly contested battle on the track for probably the last 30 laps. Really intense stuff right now, as Weaver is going to be that one on the bottom, but clear of Alex Bell. But Bell going way high to get that run off the 2, and it's going to get back to the right rear, extremely tight. Oh, he gets put in the wall, and they make contact.
Yeah, Alex Weaver was way loose on the back straight, was able to recover, but going to lose a lot of momentum. Here comes Ed Robertson. Bell was able to get past, and now here comes Ed Robertson and Eric Weiland trying to queue up. Here's a look back at what happened there. You can see Alex Bell caught the wall. 62 going wide to check up and avoid any accident. That could have been disastrous right there.
And up the road, Ryan Hartz and Richard Thomas, Connor.
Yeah, meanwhile, it looks like the 3 is starting to fall off. Thomas is by. Munsell's trying to work his way by. But now Munsell might be in that spot where he's stuck on the bottom, and they might line up. JT Poole going to hang on the right side door of the 6 of Munsell, as Scioli and Jake Nichols have pulled away from this battle, which you could call technically about a maybe 9-car battle for the 5th position. Top 5 hotly contested tonight. We've seen comers and goers in the first 56 laps of this race.
And while we're watching this battle, have a look at the lap times that John Furness is putting in. 25.4s.
Oh, hip check from JT Poole to Justin Munsell, both of them loose off the corner. Battle will still continue on.
That was tight. That was, I think, Poole, I don't think he meant to do that. He was just so squirrely up the corners. It is a very on-edge race right now. No one wants to pit, but no one wants to be the caution either as they come up on the 50. I think that's Casey Lakatos struggling. He might have a flat with how slow he's going, as I don't know how Cameron Hurd made that move work.
Yeah, that's the real danger. The flats, this is one of those places that you will see the flats in iRacing that are relatively rare. It takes a lot of tire wear to get that to happen, but we've seen them here, I think most recently, maybe in Atlanta too.
Oh, man.
Big
Ooh,
wiggles on the back straightaway from JT Poole.
He loves it. Look at him.
It's that moment when you feel the steering loose and light. Oh, as the caution's out.
Eric Wineland's in it.
And I think Matthew Bell as well.
That group finally, he kind of expected that might come from that group.
Back and have a look at the Simrat Market replay here. Right ahead of Alex Weaver. And then the 64 of Roberts on the outside. Ooh, that's going to turn the 43. Wineland gets in it, turns the 66 is the car that triggers the yellow.
It was a relatively minor incident, all things considered.
Yeah.
About as minor as Dover gets. I mean,
that was...
You can crash hard here.
Yeah, that was a weird one. Almost looked like Matthew Bell was trying to lift to give Ed Robertson the outside, but when he did that, it took Alex Weaver by surprise into the back of the 43, and then put Robertson in the wall, and Eric Wineland, and I think that might be Danny Ware, just innocent bystanders. But like you said, really no harsh contact.
Yeah, they actually got away with without a lot more damage just because of how the 66 corrected. He was headed straight for the wall. But it stops.
Yeah, I would hope so.
Yeah, it's not. 2 tires. No.
Here comes everybody.
Oh. Pile up on pit entry. We've seen how important track position is, so making your stall is going to be important. We saw Milwaukee, those pit stalls are tight. Michael Curhan could never recover from missing his, so cannot miss them tonight.
I was going to say, just a matter of knowing where a pit stall is. You have to remember around where you started, because that's how the pit stalls are assigned in iRacing, and try to look out for your pit board.
What do you guys think? Fuel only?
I mean, if you have a death wish, yeah.
I think the 50 and the 60 might need tires, considering they blew one. As here comes Scioli out of pit road, but everyone taking 4 tires. Euroshak's off pit lane easily with the lead. Furness, Scioli, looks like Jake Nichols, and Richard Thomas keeps 5th.
Off and away. And back onto the back straightaway. Euroshak will lead us around. Then Furness, Scioli, Nichols, Thomas, Travis Beckner ends up 18th in all this. He's got more rear damage than he had. That's odd.
Yeah, I think he might. I wouldn't be too surprised if someone ended up getting into his rear as he was being lapped, probably, is where the bumper finally came off. But he's in 18th, I think, because he got the lucky dog, got waved around, so he's coming down to pit lane to service that car. What's left of it. Whoa, locks it up down in pit lane. But yeah, I'm really curious as to why he's been so slow, because, you know, out of all places to get hit on the car, the rear bumper is probably the best and least useful as far as aerodynamics are concerned, besides the wing, which he still had, the spoiler on the back, which he still has. But yeah, he might have probably damaged the car mostly when he was over revving it in first, but we'll see if he can try to fix as much damage as possible down on pit lane.
Yeah, it is kind of odd that he was that off the pace. Like you said, the only thing I could think of is that he maybe damaged the engine so badly he's down RPMs. But even so, even with the new damage model, not having that rear bumper will make that car completely undrivable, whether you're down RPMs or not. So that could also be playing a factor. Just even with it damaged like it was earlier, could be really killing him. So it's going to be tough to recover from. It's kind of, he had a rough luck at Atlanta 2 weeks ago as well. He was repaired damage that entire race, but I think he ended up getting an okay finish out of it. He's going to have to hope to get the same luck tonight, but we're already, because of that long run, Kyle, halfway through this race just about.
Yeah, that's the other thing, is we've gone green for so long that I wonder if we're going to do that again, or if we're going to get some restart issues. It's always a possibility. We had a handful of wrecks on Monday, but this race historically has gone pretty green, so I'm curious which of the two we're going to end up with. I
mean, well, it really does depend right now, because everyone's big issue now, I think, is that everyone's going to feel like Superman now, because we were looking at, again, 2 seconds of fall off by the end of that run. So these guys are going to be feeling like they're going to be able to fly around here, and we could see guys maybe be a little bit too over-aggressive, or we could see everyone settle down. There still is quite a bit of racing left to go, as we're just shy of halfway.
It's going to be tight because we're going to go green with about 76, 77 laps to go. We're going to be right if it went green from here, knock on wood. We're going to be very tight on that fuel window. The issue is it's most likely pretty far outside the tire window. So if you think that there's a chance of this race going green, you cannot push these tires at all because you are going to blow a right front, whether you're first or 31st. It's going to be a struggle to the end if you don't get that yellow that you might hope for.
Coming back to the restart here, it'll be working lap 65 of 140. And Urashak, Furness, Scioli, Nichols, Thomas, your top 5. Here we go, first restart of the night. Let's see how we do. In the restart zone here, painted in blue on the bottom of the racetrack. And green flag, Urashak's off and away.
Solid restart for him, but John Furness trying to see if he can just quickly dispatch James Kyle. He's trying to come on his inside, battle it out for second place, and with the gain in speed, Scully will get on by.
Yeah, he throttled up and made sure he cleared the 28 of Furness. Furness is going to go back at him to the inside. We look back at Richard Thomas, who didn't go on that restart. He's going to hold on to maybe about 7th or 8th as Furness to the outside, to the inside, excuse me. Scioli to the outside. Here he goes for the lead on Urashak as they're 3 wide almost in the back.
Trying for it. Brandon Bowie in the purple car dives down the inside.
Back to the lead. Looks like
For the lead. Oh, Scully trying to see if he can clear Urashak as he jumped out, got blown out of a cannon. The number 7 immediately got past the 20 and now clears the 12 off of the back straightaway. So new leader, James Scully.
JT Poole almost in the fence out of 4. A couple other cars scraping the wall as they head down the straightaway. And Scioli, he is gone. Look at the gap he's already put on the 12.
Is really extremely hard pushing, Finian.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's the big thing, right? So we were just talking about that. You might need to save some tires if you expect it to go green. I think there's definitely a huge chance of that going as caution is out.
Oh, Eugenio Alonso.
In the 86.
Taking a big hit.
Yeah, he has, and this is maybe off the 21 right there. They're just going to get together, turns him into the wall. A little more help from 29 of Rabel and into the outside.
Crazy that there weren't more involved. Fortunate he stayed to the outside wall. If he came back down, that could have been bad, but it's a case of getting hooked together, fighting for the same groove, and I think that will be deemed netcode.
Take a step away for a brief moment. We'll be right back after this. And back live here on Sim TV. Just had to make a quick server correction and change. And sounds like it was looks like it was my restream software. Didn't drop any frames, but we should be back in full HD quality for now. We'll keep an eye on it throughout the rest of the evening here. 70 laps complete under caution for the second time of the night. This time most recently for Eugenio Alonso getting turned off the nose of the 21. But we're going to reach halfway at the end of this lap, Finian, and have half the race left to go.
Yeah, that's going to be, again, really interesting when it comes to the whole won't they make it to the end. I think they definitely should be able to, but again, it's just a matter of whether or not these drivers are going to decide if they're going to try to save tires or push. We saw the 7 make a clear choice in that regard because he just flew like a cannon, like he jumped out of a cannon on the start, got immediately past the 20 and the 12, and was gaining quite a bit of weight. Connor, do you think he might have been pushing a little bit too hard?
We'll see if he does it again on this restart. He pushed very hard. I think that shows how important he thinks track position is over saving the tires, as he made sure he was going to keep the lead from Conor Jiroszak as we get the 1 to green. It's the first real strategy restart of the night because he's going to pick the outside and hopes Jake Nichols can get clear for second. So I'm interested to see if these two want to push hard on their tires again, or if they get to the top 2 positions, they might just sit in front of the 12.
Well, with a restart on the horizon here again, this pace of this race has been pretty quick. About a half hour for the first half of this race. We could expect about a half hour for the second half. It's all going to plan for James Scioli. After that last restart, he jumped to the lead and then started putting distance on. That's a dangerous sign for everybody else if someone can gain that much that quick. But as we saw with Jiroszak at the tail end of the first run, you can burn up your tires and fall right back into traffic. So, lap 72, the 7 is the control car on the outside here for the restart into the Geico restart zone. And off and away. Look at the 4, 3 wide.
Yeah, that intently just did not get going as good with Conor Jiroszak in the lead. Is Cameron Hearn trying to make it 3 wide to the inside here early on, trying to make some moves. This could be actually worked out pretty well for the number 4. Gained some positions out of that exchange as they'll come flying out of turn 2, and Scully's still your leader. And now starting to break away, but Jake Nichols up to 2nd place in the 73.
That's exactly what Scioli picking the outside. That's exactly what they wanted to do. Let them time it together and get in front of the 12. Now it's a team battle. Those two with Jiroszak in 3rd, they can control this race if they keep those spots.
Pretty wild all over the place on these restarts, and you wonder, after having so much green flag running where everyone got single file, can we get back to that state without running into each other again? It's just such a challenging racetrack even to do on your own. I'm just amazed we've gone so green so far. Look at JT Poole now up to 5th place. A little more side-by-side with the 9 of Therian, and then Nico Garcia on the outside of that pink 41.
Yeah, and speaking of that stats, right, as far as going green, with only 2 cautions, we still have all 42 drivers that started this race still on the racetrack, 39 of which on the lead lap. And you can see a great battle here in the midfield. Drivers fighting for around 14th, 15th place. Alex Weaver currently side by side with Shane Tarrant, who's not really been having a good middle of the race stint, back in 15th after starting up in 3rd.
Well, battle for 2nd. These two battle hard every chance they get. Jiroszak wants 2nd back. He does not want those two to control the race. Nichols is going to give him no room on the bottom. They might make contact. They do make contact, and this is not done yet. They had a tough battle at Kentucky, and being in that challenge for that race, I don't know how much they like each other, but they're going hard for it this time. Nichols is just going to let Jiroszak by.
Yeah, moves the 12 back to 2nd place on his charge to retake the lead from James Scioli. Then John Furness, who's been a top 5 running car all night long. JT Poole, Justin Munsell packed in tight behind that 28. Then Cameron Hearn's right behind.
Yeah,
Ed Robertson saved it.
Wow. That doesn't happen here at all.
Not successfully.
It started here in 3 and 4. You're going to see the 66 of Wineland. They make contact and then went down on the apron, drifting out of turn 4. And like you mentioned, somehow he's able to save that. Ooh, caution out.
And
as we come back live.
Ware. No, Mason. Who is that? Danny Ware.
Next to the wall, it is Danny Ware.
Simrat Market replay.
There's actually a little bit of history to this, but we'll look at the sighting incident.
Oh.
78 turns him around.
That was blatant.
Yeah, so you're going to want to rewind to a lap prior in 3 and 4. Actually, this was right in behind the first incident we saw with Ed Robertson spinning. Yeah. So there is the first part of that.
Danny was involved in some stuff Tuesday night as well.
And
Here
there's
comes the payback. Yeah, pretty blatant there. I can only imagine they'll both be going to the hauler. As the 78 gets to EOL, technically the 39, but on the ticker it's 39, but he will be the 78 moving forward. It's his first start. That's not a good first impression to make.
Yeah, so he will head to the rear of the field. And while we got a moment, we'll catch everybody up on what my problem was, because I was perplexed for a little while what was going on. So what was happening was back when I had Xfinity Internet, which was a long time ago, I had switched to the New York Caster Stream server because that was the one that actually behaved better with my Restream software with the Xfinity Internet. Now that I'm on RCN fiber here locally in Chicago, as I have been for almost a year, I didn't need to be on the New York server anymore. They have a Chicago server, so I just switched to that, and we're good now. So I'm not sure if the New York one has. I've been using that for a long time, and it doesn't normally have issues, but good to know that that's what it was. I wasn't dropping any frames. It was just kind of slowing down and catching up and slowing down and catching up. So good to know. But with all that out of the way, thanks for sticking through that. I know the first, when it was getting bad right around that first yellow. But now that we're all underway again. So Scioli leads this race, 14 laps led. Quick look at the race stats so far. 3 leaders, 2 lead changes. We've had 3 yellow flags. We've already done more than we had last time out at 2 yellows. Are we going to get back into that green flag groove, guys, or do you think it's going to carry on and be a couple restart wrecks to take us through to the end?
I think we should be able to go back green. I think we've seen a couple, minor unrelated incidents. So I think really just a matter of making it past. I think maybe the 15 lap mark. I think once people start to get a little bit more settled out, we should be back into a groove.
As long as we don't start playing bumper cars like we just saw there on that last yellow, we should be fine, because that was a little out of the blue. But yeah, definitely going to be interesting here. I think what's going to make it hard to get back to green flag racing is that we're now going to have a little bit of split strategy. Actually, I had more people pit that last sequence than I thought would. I'm not sure where the cutoff point is for drivers who took tires, but there were a decent bit who were at least in the top 15 that came down.
So on the left-hand side of your screen, your ticker is going to show you how many laps a driver has on their tires. So James Scioli and everyone down to just outside the top 10, 19 laps in the stint. A lot of those have been under yellow. And then see AC Lakatos in that similar situation, but he just came back down to pit lane.
Lucky dog.
Yep.
Like I was talking about, that might be what throws a curveball in getting back to green flag racing. The tires aren't going to be that much fresher, but the laps don't really matter. We saw that at Milwaukee even, and we've seen that at Dover and past, that you don't need that much fresher tires to really come through the field at a track like this, because they wear so heavily. It makes such a big difference. So we'll see what Munsell and everyone on back can do.
Yeah, and plus we got to talk about the heat cycles. They've already got a couple of heat cycles. That's also going to make things only worse for the drivers on older tires, but we'll see. It mainly we're going to be looking at Justin Munsell, Cameron Hearn, Ryan Hards, Justin Sogek. They're going to be the drivers leading that charge with the fresher rubber to the drivers on slightly older tires, and whether or not that was a good move or not.
Before I get back to the restart here, race fans, head over to simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple and easy to use, so it keeps you more focused on the racetrack. And check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces locally in South Florida. Try the Loxahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. Speaking of point standings, there was a question about team points. Who is leading those? David Weishart Racing, 327 points over Low Dollar Racing, then Physicus Motorsports, Sky Motorsports, IRLC, Elwood Design, Powerhouse, Bowie, and Central United. Lead battle, though, only 6 points apart headed into the night, so that battle will continue to get better and better as the season goes on. Lap 83 is our restart. The 7 is the control car on the bottom this time, keeping things mixed up, lined up with his teammate, and back underway from Dover.
Decent restart for the 7. Not as good as the previous one, though. Jake Nichols trying to see if he can get past Connor Gershak running on that bottom lane. But that 12 got a fantastic run off of turn 2. He will clear for second place.
Yeah, I think Nichols is fine with keeping third. Caution, it's at the back. What in the world?
Was that a hood or a car?
The car, is that Danny Ware again?
It is anywhere.
One of them is. There was something that went over the fence. I don't know if it was a car or a hood. I hope it was a hood.
It's the Indy 500 all over.
I think it was a hood.
It was that fender. It's like a hood or fender. That was weird.
What was that off of?
So, already in progress spinning here. Wow, Jeff. Is that Jeff Wilson?
Oh, it's the Casey Lacatus car. That was the hood that went up and then up and over the fence.
Oh, no.
Oh, man, those fans better have...
You shouldn't be standing there.
Definitely not. Taller fences. This one's not...
back on his car.
This one's not RP's fault. Here's Danny Ware. Let's have a look from high above and see how he got himself in this predicament. Just check up ahead of him, and 42, Brody Falliker didn't quite get woed up in time, and then Cottis had nowhere to go. And they tore a whole nose off that thing.
Yeah, actually, it's weird, because on my screen, it looked like he completely missed it on my screen.
I think it was a neck code or something, because I think he gets it back. I don't really think he hits him.
He missed it by a decent amount. It didn't look as close as it did, especially as much as the... Wow, look at that. That was dramatic.
I wonder how much you could see in that split second. Probably none.
You could drive that car into a wall at 180 here in iRacing, and it wouldn't do that amount of damage. Some days I don't...
Yeah, he on my screen, he missed the incident by about a solid foot at least, so...
Yeah,
oh, looks like
no
he
damage.
did miss it. I miss, and I know there's a lot more complication to it, but I miss the early days of the iRacing's new damage model because it was better. I genuinely believe it was better. I don't recall it being quite so glitchy, and certainly the sensitivities were better tuned, and I feel like it kind of got pulled back too much. I
wonder if there must have been something that was messing with something else, so that they had to, probably for optimization purposes, tone it down.
Yeah, the one thing I think hurts it the most is that you can't contact other drivers' parts.
Oh, the bits and pieces.
Yeah, and that killed the look of it, and I don't understand why they couldn't just make the parts not damage you and just still hit them. I don't know, but...
Yeah.
Anyway.
We're not programmers.
No, definitely not. I tried that in college. I was bad at it.
And here you are.
Here I am. So
did you ever apply for a position at iRacing?
I did. I was not qualified.
I was just wondering because when you mentioned it, I was like, I could have sworn I remember you applying for it if they had an opening.
I applied as a track art person, which I had some reasonable experience using sandbox building and Enter 2003 tracks to a reasonable grade of quality, but they are obviously not looking for college students that are Enter 2003 fans. They want professionals that actually know what they're doing. So
maybe in 10 years.
Yeah. I ended up in an okay spot. That was before I even really knew what grid life was, I think. I think that I applied sophomore year. We didn't know what grid life was yet.
Yeah, I think that was, you're right.
So I had no idea what my life would become. And looking back on 2023, calling Toyota GR Cup and doing the Pikes Peak broadcast, and been a wild ride.
I can't believe this year's almost over. It flew by.
It really did.
It's crazy how many videos of the Pikes Peak that Kyle's actually on.
Oh, that was so cool.
There's like a number of them.
You know, because the broadcast it was not great because obviously it's very complicated to broadcast the mountain. That's a whole podcast on its own. But you know, all the fans hated it because they couldn't see the cars all the time. But when all the makes and manufacturers made their Pikes Peak videos, they would just grab the audio from the broadcast when we talked about their car. And so I was in the BMW video, I was in the Ford Performance video, was not in the Alpine one. By the way, I interviewed the head of Alpine's racing program.
Really, like the entire program, not just like regional?
Not it was the GT racing guy.
Okay.
And he said in the interview, and it's on tape, you can look this up, Alpine. and I turned my head and looked at him with the most confused, and I didn't press him on it, but I was like, is this what...
Whoa, something's going wrong, something's going wrong.
Oh, boy.
Oh, get the red flag ready. I think something happened with the servers.
Well,
oh, boy.
Cut off a perfectly good story.
Yeah.
What?
There's a destroyed car because
He did put the red flag.
I have never.
this is definitely
Oh,
the end.
here
of,
they go. Here it comes. A lot of disconnects. Jacob Hudson, Wayne
there it
Dunn,
goes.
Chris Rabel,
You know what,
Justin
guys?
Munsell,
You know what this
Chapman,
is?
Bell, Lakatos.
I know exactly what this is. This is an AWS outage because that's why I was having
Yeah.
issues on my stream server tonight.
It's crazy that this can still happen, and this is gonna be interesting because we are past halfway. And there's obviously no rules to area, but you know, general logic. Get past halfway, the race is official.
Yeah, we're still dropping cars. Oh, a couple more dropping out.
We're definitely not going back green anytime soon. So,
Yeah, this is big dramas here. So, well, I bet we're going to extend this yellow, so we're going to display our red because you can't actually throw a red. This is we're not actively competing at the moment. So hang tight, everybody, as we try to figure out what's happening here. I'm going to guess that it's an AWS-related problem based on the issues that I was having with the stream server. And it also makes sense regionally because I was on the New York stream server and iRacing is based, their servers are based out of Massachusetts, so it wouldn't be all that odd. Vinny Dacuna's brought Hunter Sloppy with me. I almost said Hunter Sloppy based on your Discord name. What can you tell us, Hunter? What's our situation and strategy here?
Looks like the iRacing server went kablooey after I came back from a wedding I was attending. That's why I couldn't show up until just now. Just got home, but yeah, it looked like the server just went kablooey on itself, and they're trying to figure things out. They're talking about maybe bringing everyone down to pit road and going from there, trying to get the server back going.
Yeah, I mean, this is it reminds me so much of the last time that we had a red flag on SimTV. That was back at Indianapolis a couple of years ago. So the race is paused now as about a dozen drivers have been disconnected from the server. And yeah, that was bizarre. Let's go back and look at this again because it almost looked like I've seen this happen in Assetto Corsa Competizione a couple times where everyone just kind of drives off into the ether. But here's what happened.
I think everyone realized what was happening and decided just, I don't know, start throttling up. Look at these guys in the background. That's almost exactly what we saw at Indianapolis.
Yeah, so very, very strange. And the problem is that they didn't just kind of ease off track. There's damaged race cars. So I'm not exactly sure what the protocol or if there's a protocol for this.
I'm hearing they're discussing with the drivers, and it sounds like they might be calling it, not only just for the drivers that disconnected, but a lot of the drivers that were just involved in that incident and damaged. So that's the word I'm hearing. Nothing official yet.
Yeah, we'll wait and until we get an official ruling. But, well, the rain isn't coming on Tuesday, confirmed the other day, but we've somehow managed potentially to find a way to rain out.
I mean, is it not ironic? You really told the script's leaking, right? We were talking about the odds of a red flag earlier in the race that we never have.
Well, also there's the way that it looks like rain started happening. I mean, it looks like it just started raining. It's wild.
Where's the rainbow? Sunny out. Where's the rainbow?
Yeah.
But yeah. That's the issue. You can't, if you were going to restart this race, it would have to be another session. And judging off of, we're hearing this is obviously iRacing league-wide. This is not just area, this is everything. So that would not make much sense to restart in a session where it might just happen anyways.
I'm still willing to bet that it's more than just iRacing.
It's more than iRacing, but just talking, this is happening along iRacing.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Does this have anything to do with me?
I don't know.
Like
Get out of here. No, I'm just kidding.
Like I literally just got home. I'm like, oh, okay, I still have half the race left. All right, I can go back and watch this. We're coming up on a restart and getting ready. And then all of a sudden, everybody's yelling, "Whoa!" Hey! And then there's cars spinning everywhere. And then Brad.
It is funny how the instant reaction when this happens is just throttle up, wreck people.
Yeah. Well,
wrecking.
yeah. I
We do get
I did just
red
check
flag
out AWS, and it seems like everything's okay over there. But obviously, that's not the full picture. That's just me scrubbing through an internet browser.
All right, so just got word from Jacob Bell. So what it seems like they're doing is that they're going to be essentially pausing the scoring at the lap before everything went kaput for everyone. And I believe we're not going to be resuming racing here tonight. What I am hearing, there's a chance they might resume the laps left to run on a different night.
It would be tough to end it now because you just had all those guys pit 12th on back, so I'm sure they're going to have some hurt feelings over AWS's issue.
Yeah, I think you probably have to go back to the moment of caution. I would think would be the.
Yeah, I think that's what they're planning on doing.
Got it. Okay, so that makes sense. And we do have an off week next week technically, so there's an opportunity to resume. If that's what the final call is going to be.
Yeah, and it looks like people are leaving the service. I think that is going to be race over for tonight.
Wow.
However, the event itself is not officially concluded as of yet.
Yeah, I'll wait on an instruction before we sign off for the evening. But guys, what a crazy! I mean, I don't even want to show this graphic as results because it's not really what it is. But
no,
yeah, it's not even accurate enough to do that, so we won't. But wow.
Not the JT Pool. JT Pool, he's the winner.
No, I don't know about that.
So
give it to Jake Nichols. He's my driver.
Gosh, I totally commentator cursed this, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, you said it would be a long
this
night.
Entire event.
You said it would be a long night, then it wasn't.
Yeah, I did say that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Oh man. Oh, what a turn of events.
Just got the green pace car pulled in.
No.
Because it has stopped being moderated at the moment. John Furness is still making laps.
Do you want to color, just in case you can get those laps? Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to color in the flag red?
Don't think he's gonna get them, but
Well,
when's the fuel race finished? Didn't it?
Yes, it ended up being a double header at Charlotte.
Oh no! I remember what happened. They had the red flag. They got everyone back together. They did a little bit more racing, and then the server went kaput again. And then they were like, "Yeah, no, there's no point. Like, the server time was going to run out, so they just called it."
Okay. All right. Well, that's a weird way to end. I don't think I've ever had to sign off of a rain-delayed broadcast before.
I was going to say, we will say Scioli is in the lead of the race. We'll determine whether or not he'll be the winner.
We can go back in this stream and figure out where everyone was at the time, the lap before this went crazy. But we for sure know Scioli was leading.
Well, guys, Miles the Monster had to run out for groceries, so can't eat yet. All right, guys, that's going to wrap things up here for the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Tonight from Dover, make sure you check the Area iRacing Twitter for updates on what is going to happen next and when we will resume the last 50 or so laps of this race. Kyle Heyer, Hunter Sleppy, Fidin DeCuna, and Connor Horn alongside you. We'll see you next Monday for the Area All-Star Race. Make sure you get your picks in on the areaiRacing.com website for the All-Star Race vote. And this race will resume at an unannounced time, but we'll let you know when we know. Wrapping things up here from Dover. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time here on SimTV.